state your first and last name and spell it for the court.
Rebecca Earp, REBECCAEARP.
Get as comfortable as you can. We'll be there for a minute. And sir, this is a day that you've been looking forward to.
No.
Tell us who you were in relation to Zach Adams.
I was his girlfriend for 2.5 years.
His girlfriend for 2.5 years. Were you his girlfriend around the time of April 2011
Yes.
when Holly Bobo disappeared?
Yes, sir.
Describe for me your relationship with Zach Adams around that time.
Around that time, it was awful. After his grandmother passed, he got on morphine.
About when did his grandmother pass?
I don't remember.
He got on morphine?
Mhm.
Was he on any other drugs as well?
Meth.
Meth.
Mhm.
And why did that make the relationship awful?
His temper.
Did you back then live with him or not?
Mm-hmm.
You have to speak so everybody.
Yes, I did live with him.
And where did y'all live at?
At his house by his grandfather's.
He has a house other than you. Does anybody else live there at the time?
No, sir.
His grandfather's, that house close by?
Yes.
Right across the driveway.
Yes.
And who lived in his grandfather's house?
Dylan.
And did the grandfather live there too?
Yes.
And who is Dylan?
Dylan is his brother.
Did you get to know Dylan?
My man knew him. Knew of him.
Knew of him?
Mm-hmm.
So was Dylan around Zach and his friends a lot?
Off and on.
And how was Dylan treated?
Zach was pretty much bossy towards him, I guess.
Was it bossy?
Bossy.
And how were you treated back then in April of 2000?
I'm going to object. We have 404B evidence I'm concerned about. We filed a motion on that, Your Honor. I requested any kind of hearing before we go into anything.
Well, maybe I can phrase the question better. I'm not asking about any specific instances of anything that happened, just the general tenor of their relationship in the preceding days. Did that make sense to you, what I just said, Rebecca?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you about anything or things that happened. I'm just asking about the days before Holly went missing. What was the relationship like? How were you being treated?
I just pretty much worked, came home asleep, couldn't keep up with him, so I was just doing my thing.
Had you broached the idea of him of breaking up?
Yes.
Had you tried to leave him?
Yes.
Again, I'm not asking about specific incidents, but what was his attitude towards you were trying to leave?
He would always talk me into coming back, and he would be very stern or threaten me.
Stern and threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Objection, Your Honor. I object to the phrase threatened.
She said stern approach or something like that.
Stern.
So,
Stress. On the road.
in fact, on the very day before Holly went missing, did you try to leave him again on that day?
I was at my mother's that day.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean physically with him or not. Did you try to leave him as boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yes.
Did you try to break up with him?
Yes.
And was his response the same?
Yes.
And this would have been April the 12th of 2011.
Yes.
The time that he was in morphine and meth. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Who else did he hang out with? Did you know Shane Austin?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever observe Shane Austin to be involved with meth and morphine?
Yes, sir.
Frequently or infrequently?
He was more on pills.
He was more on pills?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Jason Autry?
Yes, sir.
Do you know, you've already said, Dylan Adams?
Mm-hmm.
Are these people that would hang around Zach Adams?
Yes.
Would they come to his house?
Yes.
Would Zach go to theirs?
Yes.
Did you know where Shane lived?
Yes.
And I'm not asking you the address. Did you know what street he lived on?
It's by Yellow Springs Church.
A Yellow Springs Church.
Mm-hmm.
And is that close to Zach's?
Yes, across the highway.
The highway's Interstate 40.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Holiday, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
April the 12th, 2011.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that night. April the 12th, 2011.
He talked me into coming and staying with him.
I couldn't quite hear when you
He taught me to come stay with him that night.
talked you to come in.
He talked me into coming to stay with him that night, so I did.
So that day, breakup.
Mm-hmm.
But that night, where were you?
His house.
Do you remember what time you arrived at his house?
No, sir. It was late though.
Late.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to his house, was he there?
Yes.
Was there anybody else with him?
Not that I remember.
Did y'all interact with each other late when you got to that house?
We talked a little bit, but then I went to bed and he stayed up.
Did he ever come to bed that night?
Not that I remember, no.
What woke you up that morning?
Zach.
And what was he doing to wake you up?
He kissed me on the forehead and he said he was going to haul off scrap.
And about what time was this?
It was anywhere from 6 to 7:30.
6 to 7 or 7:30.
Mhm.
Early in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Did you stay in bed or did you get up?
I stayed in bed and slept for a little bit longer.
Do you remember what his demeanor was when he told you he was going to go sell scrap?
Yes, sir.
How was he acting?
Fine.
What do you do that morning after he leaves?
I go back to bed for about 30 minutes and then I had to get up, get ready, go to work because I had to be there at 9.
Do you get up and get ready?
Yes.
And do you go to work?
Yes.
Where's your work?
Joe's video in Parsons.
In Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from the Holiday Sugar Tree area
Mm-hmm.
down to Parsons.
Yes, sir.
How long does that take you? Do you know?
15 minutes.
You had a car back then?
Yes. Well, yes, sir. At that time.
Okay. What was Zach driving back then?
The white Nissan.
White Nissan?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a car or was it a truck?
Of the truck.
Is that what he was driving that morning?
I think so, yes.
Okay, well, let's not, if you don't remember something,
I think so.
did you see what car he got into when he went to go haul the scrap metal?
No, sir.
But what we're going to talk about later, did you see him later in the day in the car?
In his truck.
We'll get there. You get to work.
Mm-hmm.
It is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Has anything strange happened that morning?
Yes.
What's that?
Holly came up missing.
And did you know Holly at all?
I knew her through Joe's video. She would come tan or rent videos.
Yeah, because Joe's video used to, is it still on?
No.
It's closed.
Yes.
Used to not just rent videos, but there's tanning booths in there. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so you knew her from that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you also know her cousin?
Yes.
What was her name?
Natalie Bobo.
And how did you know Natalie?
Through tanning. She would come in there and tan.
How did you hear that something happened to Holly that morning?
I think it was the news.
When do you hear or see Zach Adams again that morning?
It was close to the afternoon. He come by my work.
To Parsons?
Mm-hmm.
Close to the afternoon to Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
And what was his demeanor? Or did you personally see him when he came back from Parsons?
Yes. We got into an argument, of course. And we was arguing because I thought he was lying about going to the scrapyard because he switched phones.
Who switched phones?
Zach.
What do you mean by switched phones?
He was using his brother's phone that he would use, which was Becky's,
He was using his brother's phone.
because he texted me from it.
And that was unusual.
Yes.
And so you immediately thought he wasn't scrapping.
Yes.
And did you confront him about this?
I don't remember.
Did you have a conversation with him about this?
Not necessarily about the phone. No.
No, not about the phone, but about the fact that you didn't think he was scrapping.
Oh, yes.
And what happened?
We got into it
Where?
at Joe's video.
And what happened?
He grabbed my head.
Objection.
I was not going specific.
It ended disagreeing.
Yes.
Did you agree with that?
Yes.
He came to see you at Joe's video. Did you see the vehicle that he was in?
Yes.
What vehicle was he in?
The Nissan.
A white Nissan?
Yes, sir.
Pickup truck?
Yes, sir.
With anybody, or was he by himself?
I don't remember.
After this disagreeable ending, did he leave?
Yes.
Do you remember if you heard from him again that day?
No, I don't. I didn't see him till later that night, I think.
I want to ask you about particular things that happened after that, after the day that Holly disappeared. Okay? That next day, was there an occasion that you were at Zach's house? Or Zach and Shane?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I was cooking supper and the news come on and they were talking about Holly missing and Shane kind of smirked and started laughing. And Zach made the comment, said, they'll never be able to find her.
Never be able to find.
Hmm.
Was there any more conversation about that at that time?
No, I didn't say anything. I just kept cooking.
You just kept cooking.
Hmm.
What's the next thing that you notice? What's the next thing that you notice?
What do you mean?
You describe Zach and Shane. Shane laughing and Zach saying what he did the day after he disappeared. After that, what's the next thing you notice that's suspicious or unusual that catches your attention?
I don't know.
Okay, let me recall you to particular things.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Did you notice any physical injuries that Zach had around that time?
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
3 scratches on his neck.
Scratches on his neck?
Yeah, parallel scratches on his neck.
On his
Neck.
neck.
Yes.
And had you seen those before he went scrapping?
No.
Did he have those after he went scrapping?
Yes.
You said you didn't believe that he went scrapping. In fact, did you try to check on that?
Yes, I called.
After you called, did you still not believe?
I called and I asked them, I said, they said they couldn't give me any information.
Hearsay.
So I'm not asking you what they said,
Oh.
okay? But listen to me. After you made that call, okay,
Mm-hmm.
were you still suspicious that he didn't go scrapping?
Yes.
Did you ask Zach about these scratches he had on him?
No.
Did you follow the news in the day, the next day, about Holly Bobo?
Yes, sir.
But were you familiar with the roads and the area around her house?
Yes, sir.
Did you know if Zach Adams was familiar with the roads and the area around her house?
Yes, sir.
And how did you know that?
Because we wrote them together.
Had you ever seen the map of where Holly's cell phone would be?
Yes.
Did that catch your attention?
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Because that's the road he took all the time.
How long did you live in that house with her after she was taken
Till July.
till July?
3 months.
3 months in that house.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever notice anything strange physically about the house?
No.
Let's go to July.
Okay.
Okay. Again, I'm not asking you about a particular incident. Okay.
Okay.
When you finally left in July,
Yes, sir.
was that under unpleasant circumstances?
Yes.
During the course of those circumstances, did you and Zach argue?
Yes. Yes.
Were you trying to get away from him?
Yes.
Did he make any statements to you at that time about how they
I'm gonna object if he's trying to get into 404B evidence.
or messing with making statements?
Even if it's statements, Your Honor, if it's not relevant to this, then I object to that. I mean,
And this is about this. I asked
maybe
for statements about probability.
Mm-hmm.
He made any statements to you about Holly Bobo?
Yes, sir.
And what did he say?
He said he would tie me up just like he did Holly Bobo and nobody would ever see me again.
Tie you up like Holly Bobo and nobody ever see you.
Yes, sir.
July was your last month in that house
Yes, sir.
at Adams Lane.
Yes, sir. We talked and associated after that, yes.
We talked and associated after that. Though.
Mhm.
How was your life then, Rebecca?
Did what, sir?
How was your life then, Rebecca?
Awful.
Your Honor, I object to the relevance of this.
Overruled.
Are you doing better now?
Yes.
But after July, you were still talked.
Mm-hmm.
Was there an occasion after July in which you heard him make any statements about Holly Bobo?
Do what now?
It was kind of general. After July,
Uh-huh.
when you were still talking to him,
Mm-hmm.
you were still
I mean, I would still go up there and stay the night and stuff.
seeing him,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes staying the night.
Mm-hmm.
And if the witness can be instructed to actually verbalize the answer. I think she is, but make sure you answer the court reporter is taking down what you say.
Okay.
I'll try to help you. If you nod your head, I'll try to hear.
Okay.
So there you go. Did you ever overhear a conversation that Zach had with another person having to do with Holly Bobo?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that.
It was at John Mitchell's house.
And just generally, who is John Mitchell?
It's one of his friends.
His friend again, Zach.
Yes.
What'd you hear?
That everything was ready to go in the back of the truck to be put up under the Birdsong Bridge.
They put up under the Birdsong Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And they say what this was. It was going to be put up.
They said it was the remains of Holly. But when they found out that I found out about it, they said that it was remnants of making meth is what they got rid of.
So let me just back up so I understand. Do John Mitchell and Zach know that you're there?
Yes.
Zach says something about, tell me again, I don't want to miss. What does Zach say?
Zach said that everything was in the truck ready to go.
Everything's in the truck.
Truck.
Everything in the truck ready to go to do what?
Take that Tupperware, it was a blue Tupperware thing, to Birdsong.
With the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
You know where that area is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And that it was, who said something about the remains of Holly Bobo?
I can't remember.
Was it either Zach or Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, sir.
And then you said something about actually what it was methamphetamines.
Yes.
And how did you figure that out?
Because later on they told me that it was just a joke just to see if I would call the TBI.
They told you it was a joke to see if you would call.
John told me, yes.
You were able to get away,
Yes.
to get out of this.
Yes.
He never tied you up and did you like Holly Bobo.
No.
And you're doing better now.
Yes, sir. Way better.
What's that?
I said a lot better. I have a son now.
Just a few more things I just want to ask you about.
Okay.
Okay. You said you know Natalie Bobo.
Yes.
Do you know whether or not Zach Adams knew Natalie Bobo?
Yes, I introduced him.
Back then, Did Zach have Facebook?
Yes.
Is that something that he would use?
Yes.
Is that something he would use sometimes to communicate with you?
Yes.
Is that something he'd use to communicate sometimes with other people?
Yes.
Did I ask you to review a large stack of papers?
Yes.
What was that large stack of papers I asked you to review?
There's pictures of us together at a bar, comments, just posts.
Was
Yeah.
it Zach's?
Yes, it
Facebook?
was his Facebook.
And had you seen his Facebook before?
Yes.
A lot?
Yes.
Had you seen him using his Facebook before?
Yes.
A lot?
Yes.
Did he let other people use his Facebook?
No.
Was that his?
Mm-hmm.
And the various pictures that you saw on Facebook that you just told us, were those pictures things that actually happened
Yes.
in your life and in his life?
Yes.
So what I showed you was his Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Just want you to look at the top paper from that page. Is this the Facebook records that I showed you?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now, I'm not seeking to introduce these. This is years and years of Facebook. I think they should be marked with identification. Later on, a very, very small portion will be introduced to another. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Is that Zach Adams?
Yes, sir.
Is that his Facebook profile?
Yes, sir.
No, I would have that picture marked.
Yes.
Do you recognize that picture?
Yes, sir.
It's that picture.
One of the first times he took me up under the bridge.
He had taken you to that spot before, hadn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Up under the bridge
Yes, sir.
near Birdsong.
Yes, sir.
And what did y'all do there? What's that picture of?
It's a picture of spray painting Rebecca loves Zach.
Up under that bridge
Yes, sir.
at Birdsong.
Yes, sir.
And have that Martian image. This is exhibit 64. Did you and Zach spray paint that together?
No, it was just me.
That's where he took it.
Yes.
Exhibit 63. That's his Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Can I see that last picture just for? So back in September of 2014, you were pregnant with your first child, weren't you?
Yes.
And that was after Zachary Adams had been arrested on charges in this case, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you specifically remember that Valerie Trout, a TBI agent, came to talk to you at your mother's house, don't you?
Yes.
And at that time, she threatened to take your unborn baby away from you and put it in DCS custody, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay. Matter of fact, she said that was based on whether or not you were going to be a fit person to take care of your child.
It was threatening me to say that if I told him all the truth and everything. I said I've been nothing but honest.
Right, but she specifically said that if you weren't going to tell them the truth, that they were going to
Yes.
take your unborn baby away.
Yes.
Okay. And that's not Zachary Adams' child, is it? It's
No.
another man's.
Yes.
So I want to go back and talk with you. You've given multiple statements in this case, haven't you?
Yes.
And you would agree with me, your statements have changed over time.
Yes.
So the first statement you gave was actually in April of 2011.
Yes.
Do you remember? I mean, before even, just early on, someone stopped by and talked to you.
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, you gave absolutely no indication that Zachary Adams was involved in what had occurred.
Right.
And you even acknowledged at that time that Zach had scratches on him that he had gotten while he was being chased by an officer at the park, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. And so then you gave your next statement in July of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this was shortly after you and Zach had broken up for your final time of living together, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, you were very upset with Mr. Adams.
Yes.
And to be clear, Rebecca, just to be honest, back in the day, you were using meth also, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were using a lot of Xanax, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay. And you would use meth with Zach and use drugs with Zach, isn't that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So much of the time you spent high.
At the first of it, yes.
Okay. And Zach was high also, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay. That's one of the things that attracted you all to each other.
Yes.
And you had a very volatile relationship. It was full of very highs and lows, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. At some point you really loved him.
Yes.
And
I loved him a lot.
What?
I loved him a lot.
Yeah, and he expressed to you, he loved you a lot too, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that made the relationship so volatile, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that you were so upset about the scrapping is you suspected that he might be cheating on you.
Yes.
And that had you very upset, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So in the July of 2011, you spoke to investigator Ricky Inman about Zach Adams.
Yes.
And at that time, you said that you and Zach had broken up you were breaking up around the time that Holly disappeared.
Yes.
And you said that morning, the night of April the 12th, you spent that night with Zach.
Yes.
And you said that the next morning he was still at home when you left for work at 9:15 a.m.
You got to understand I was under the influence then to where I was scared. I didn't know. So, yes, my statements are going to be different.
Yeah, but you were also under the influence of drugs too, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay. And so you said at that time that he was still at home that morning and you left around 9:15 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that a yes?
Yes.
It's just the court reporter. I understand what you're saying, but she needs to be able to write yes or no. And that you you spent that morning at Joe's video working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, is that a yes? Sorry.
Yes. Sorry.
And Zach Adams' grandmother died on April the 1st, didn't she?
Yes.
And Zach was very close with his grandmother, wasn't he?
Very.
And so when she died, it tore him up, didn't it?
Yes.
Matter of fact, Zach's was close to his grandmother and his grandfather.
Yes.
Okay. And so after she died, he was using extra amounts of meth, wasn't he?
Yes.
And some of the morphine that he had gotten from her. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so he was heavily dosing himself, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay. And you were aware that he was arrested on April the 4th at Natchez Trace State Park.
Yes.
Matter of fact, it was his grandmother's funeral was April the 3rd.
Yes.
She had breast cancer. They expected her to die. It wasn't a surprise.
Yes.
And so her funeral was April the 3rd, and April the 4th, he just really got out of control at the state park and got arrested, didn't he?
Yes.
And at that time, his truck got impounded, didn't it?
Yes.
And Dick Adams actually owned that white truck, didn't he?
I think so.
And I think you said earlier it was a new truck, but it was a 98 Nissan pickup truck, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was a mid-size pickup. It was not a
full size, no.
What?
It's not a full size, no.
Okay, it's not a full size. So after Zach got arrested, his grandfather left the truck in impound for a while, didn't he?
Yes.
And then wouldn't give it back to Zach right away, would he?
Right.
Right. And so that meant because Zach's black truck at that time, they had a black Nissan truck also, didn't they?
It was a Chevrolet truck.
No, that's Dylan's truck, the Chevrolet.
Dylan's was beige Chevrolet truck.
If the actual title to the truck shows that Dylan had a charcoal black or a graphite colored
Well, then
truck.
it might have been in Dylan's name. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's the Zach. That's that. I thought that was Zach's truck. The
The
black one.
black one. Didn't
Mhm.
Zach have a dark green truck at some point?
Not that I remember.
Zach went through a lot of cars. Can you
Yes.
say that?
Yes.
Okay. And so at some point, Zach is then looking around for transportation, wasn't he?
Yes.
And Shane Austin did not have transportation because he had wrecked his truck, hadn't he?
Yes.
Matter of fact, Shane had also been in a motorcycle wreck, hadn't he?
Yes.
And he had also had an accident where he fell off a cooling tower.
Yes.
Matter of fact, was it the motorcycle accident that left one of his eyes kind of
Yes.
crooked?
Droopy. Yes.
Droopy. So like the eyelid didn't go up right next to the eye, and it kind of drooped. You could see the pink under his eye, couldn't you?
Right.
And he had some scarring on his face too, didn't he?
Yes.
Okay. Initially, when you talked to Ricky Inman, and Ricky Inman's an investigator for the local police department,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
He's not a TBI agent.
No.
Initially, when you talked to Ricky Inman, you said that you thought Zach and his friend Victor Dinsmore were hauling scrap that day.
Yes.
You didn't know for sure if Zach had talked with Shane Austin or not.
Right.
You said at that time that Zach, and this is just a few months later, but you said at that time Zach had never made comments to you about Holly. Had never made comments about Holly before she was taken.
Because when that had do what now?
He'd not made comments about Holly
No.
before she was taken.
No.
Zach certainly would have liked the reward money, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was aware that there was a large reward out. In the end, how much do you remember it being?
$250,000.
$250,000. And you specifically do remember telling Ricky Inman that Shane was dependent on other people to drive him around because he didn't have a car.
Yes.
You also did not believe that Zach had gone to the coon hunt that year.
Right.
And then the TBI came back and they had gotten a search warrants and been searching Zach Adams' home. And
Yes.
that was February the 28th, 2014,
Yes.
when they talked to you the next time.
Yes.
And but this time when they talked to you in July, that's after you all had broken up. It was your final breakup.
Yes.
And Zach was out of your life for a while.
Yes.
So the next time the TBI talked to you, it was 2014. So it was basically 3 years later.
Yes.
A lot of time had passed since the events had all occurred.
Yes.
And you didn't make notes. I mean, you yourself had not written down the events of that day, had you?
No.
So you were going by your memory.
Yes.
And the memories that you'd made as best you could, because at the time you were using meth and
Yes.
Xanax. And you used some other drugs too, right? Marijuana?
Marijuana.
The next time they talked to you, it was several TBI agents that came to talk to you. Do you specifically remember Joe Walker and Joe Craig being there?
Vaguely, yes.
And at that time, you knew already that Zach had been arrested for this, didn't you?
Yes.
Because they came in and told you, listen, we've got the guy, didn't they?
Yes.
I mean, they were very confident when they came to tell you that they had arrested him. They didn't say, we've arrested him and we think he might be the guy, or...
Your Honor, I think we're hearsay on hearsay in this question. Since you're not characterizing other people's story.
Well,
This is now what we're saying.
right. Of course, I am not offering the fact that they said he was guilty for the truth of the matter. Let's be clear. I'm just
You can
offering it to
ask the
show.
question so that she can show what her
Right.
response.
Yes. So the fact that they said all this to you, I mean, you have faith in law enforcement, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you want to believe that if law enforcement does something, they know what they're doing, don't you?
Yes.
So then when they come to talk to you, they specifically said, they're asking you again about what happened. They brought with them some documents from Birdsong Auto Salvage regarding scrapping. Do you remember them bringing you documents?
No.
They brought you a list of all the people whose names were turned in. You're familiar
Okay,
with
yes, I
Birdsong?
do remember now. Yes.
First of all, you're familiar with Birdsong Auto Salvage.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a metal scrap
Yes.
location where people can take scrap metal, turn it in for cash money.
Yes.
And back in 2011, Zach Adams made a lot of his money with scrap metaling, didn't he?
Yes.
And that's where he got some of his money to buy drugs.
Yes.
He also sometimes on and off had some odd jobs here and there, didn't he?
Yes.
At some time he had worked for Decatur County and
North 40.
North 40, okay?
Yes.
Zach Adams would spend a lot of time out looking for scrap metal.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Sometimes he'd get it on the up and up, and sometimes he'd just have sticky fingers and pick up scraps around. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes.
The TBI brought to you a document that showed that Zach Adams' name was not on the list of people that had scrapped metal on April the 13th, 2014.
Correct.
But they failed to show you that Zach Adams had actually scrapped metal on April the 11th, Monday, 2011.
Okay.
If I said 2014 just a minute ago, I meant 2011.
Okay.
And they didn't tell you that he'd actually scrapped metal on Friday, April the 15th, 2011, did they?
No.
And so your memory 3 months later was that he had told you he'd gone to do scrap metal that day.
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't specifically write that down anywhere that he had gone to do scrap metal.
No.
You were going by memory in July from an event that had happened in April of April 13th.
Yes.
And Zach did do scrap metaling a lot back in those days, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that morning, you think that you went into work at Joe's Video at 9 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
And you remember 9 a.m. because you usually open the store?
Yes.
And what time did the store open?
10 o'clock.
Okay, so you would get there at 9 to get things ready?
Yes. Yes, because I had to go to the bank to do the deposit.
Then, after they showed you this list and told you that Zach had not scrapped any metal that day, that you were then angry with Zach Adams at that time, weren't you?
Yes.
Because you felt like that was confirmation that he had lied to you and was perhaps cheating on you at the time.
Yes.
And you're an emotional person, clearly. I mean, I see that you wrote Becca plus Zach, or Becca and Zach on the bridge support. You spray painted it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at times when you were in love, you wanted the world to know, didn't you?
Yes.
And so, and Zach had a way with the ladies, didn't he?
Yes.
And so the fact that he might be cheating on you was not out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
So you remembered in February of 2014 that you didn't get back until 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock that night after having worked. Is that right?
I don't remember.
Okay. You don't have a memory of that now as to what time you got home, do you?
No.
Now, you say Zach had scratches on his neck.
Yes.
And where were those? Since you're saying neck and not throat, I'm assuming you mean around in the...
They were right here on the side of his neck.
So, okay, let's see. I just want to be clear for the record. You are pointing to your left-hand side? Is that your right-hand side?
Yes, right.
Left-right problem. So you're saying that the scratches would have been on his right side of his neck,
Yes, ma'am.
and they would have gone under the jawline from the
Towards the
ear
Adam's apple.
towards the Adam's apple.
Yes.
And how many scratches were there?
3.
There were 3 scratches right there.
Yes.
And how deep were those scratches?
Not very deep.
Not very deep?
Mm-mm.
Okay. At that point, did it alarm you when you say you saw those scratches?
Yes, but I never spoke of it.
So why wouldn't you speak of it?
I was scared.
Why were you scared?
I just was.
Knowing that at some point there was a reward out, it was a $250,000 reward. Did it ever occur to you to say something before he was arrested by the TBI?
I did. I have.
You have what?
I have called the TBI and informed them before.
You called the TBI before that? Oh, well, when did you call the TBI?
Well, whenever I heard about the remains,
Oh, but you heard about the remains after he was arrested.
yes.
Okay, so no, I'm talking about before he was arrested.
Okay.
When did you call and tell them about
Oh, I
scratches?
didn't.
Okay, you didn't.
No.
Specifically talking to an investigator, Danny Mulligan, from the defense team that came to speak with you.
Yes.
Danny kind of has a long ponytail.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember specifically when you talked to Danny Mulligan, you told him, do you remember telling him that the scratches on Zach's arms referenced in the report, and you say emphatically that the scratches were from a different day when Zach was running from the cops in Lexington and were not from the day that Holly Bobo disappeared?
Yes. He always had scratches on him.
Okay, so he had scratches from when he ran from the cops in Lexington, too?
Yes.
So he did have those scratches?
Yes.
You acknowledge that?
Yes.
So now you're saying, yes, he had scratches from when he ran from the cops. And when we say Lexington, you're talking about the Natchez Trace incident.
Yes, ma'am.
So he did have those scratches, but now you're saying he had some additional scratches on his neck that were new, okay?
Yes.
So now you're saying he had two sets of scratches,
Mm-hmm.
at least,
Mm-hmm.
because you say he always was getting scratches.
Yes.
Do you also remember telling Mr. Mulligan that you weren't sure that it was incorrect in Joe Walker's report that you had worked till 10 o'clock p.m. that night? Do you remember telling Mr. Mulligan that you had
What
not?
night?
On the night that Holly disappeared, April the 13th, 2011. Do you remember telling my investigator that part of Joe Walker's report was inaccurate?
No, I don't remember.
Is there a reason you wouldn't remember specifically what you said to our investigator?
I remember working the night before, but I don't. I mean, my 2-year-old was there
No, I'm sorry.
when he was interviewing me.
That's not what I'm talking about. Let's go back because I've confused you. When Danny Mulligan came to talk to you, you specifically remember he pulled out these TBI reports and handed you the written copies, right?
Yes, let me read them all.
He let you read them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then you took a highlighter and you highlighted things in the report and then you marked on them. Do you remember
Yes, that wasn't true and was true.
that? Okay. So the part and I'm referring to Joe Walker's report because Joe Walker wrote up the report when he came to see you February 8th, 2014, along with Special Agent Joe Craig.
Okay.
And then Joe Walker put down, I worked until 10 o'clock p.m. that night. You told Danny Mulligan that was an inaccuracy in Joe Walker's report.
Of what night?
Then it's April the 13th, 2011, the day Holly disappeared.
That means I would have had to work a double, so no, I don't think I would have.
Okay, so that's an inaccuracy in Joe Walker's report.
I guess.
Because you didn't work a double shift that day.
I don't remember, no.
Okay. And even after you and Zach broke up for the last time in July of 2011, you all still remained friends at
Yes.
some point. Yes?
Yes.
And you occasionally would spend the night over there and hang out with him.
I don't recall ever spending the night, but going over there, yes.
I thought on direct you said you spent the night over there some.
I could have, yes.
Did you just say that a little while ago on direct? When Mr. Hagerman was asking you questions?
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes you do sometimes you say things that you forget. Is that what?
No.
Okay. So you did sometimes spend the night with Zach Adams.
Yes.
After you all broke up.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself to be a psychic type person?
No.
Okay. And then you gave another statement the next day because 2014, that statement was on the 28th of February. And then you gave a statement on March the 1st. And I think 2014 was a leap year, so it would have been 2 days later. Does that sound right to you?
I guess.
And so in that statement, they actually sat down and went over some telephone numbers with you.
Yes.
And they went over your call records that day.
Yes.
Because you do recognize that the TBI went ahead and subpoenaed your telephone records from the day Holly disappeared from AT&T.
Yes.
And they went over your telephone record with you very carefully to ask you what numbers were what.
Yes.
And I think earlier I heard you testify that on the day Holly disappeared, Zach Adams called you from his brother Dylan's cell phone.
Text me, yes.
Texted you from his brother Dylan's cell phone.
Yes.
But would you be surprised to know that Dylan's cell phone records do not show that a text call was made to you from his phone?
He also had this spoofing card that he could make it come up any number.
What the spoofing card did was made caller ID look like any number.
Mm-hmm.
You would agree with me the way the spoofing card worked, because you heard him use it.
Mm-hmm.
He used it as a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
He could.
Yes.
You dial the spoofing card telephone number, right?
I guess, yes.
And then there's a little second. You put in the phone number that you want to show up in caller ID.
Yes.
And then you dial the number you want to call.
Right.
Then you can pick another kind of voice, too, because you can have it alter your voice to make it sound like a woman or a man, something like that, right?
Yes.
It just alters the tone of the voice, kind of like Auto Song does tunes or Auto Tune does songs, right?
Yes.
Okay. But there still would be a record of you calling into the spoof card line phone number, right?
I guess.
Okay. If the Dylan's telephone does not show that any calls were made on it that day, then does that surprise you that the phone wasn't actually used?
I think she's already answered this. That's how we started.
What was the question?
Okay.
Was it surprised that he called from?
No, that he didn't really use Dylan's phone to call you that day.
I just remember him calling me from a different number that wasn't his, is what made me led to believe that he did not go to the scrapyard.
Okay, so he called you on your cell phone number?
Yes.
So what time of day did he call you on that cell phone?
I don't remember.
So, but you don't know for sure it was Dylan's number?
I thought it was his grandmother's, the one that Dylan was using, yes.
Okay. So, you would agree with me because you reviewed your cell phone number, your cell phone records from the day Holly disappeared, that you and Zachary Adams had a lot of texting going on that day.
Yes.
I mean, you had tens of texts going back and forth to one another.
Yes.
And he kind of blew up the phone at Joe's video too, didn't he?
Yes.
Joe's video had, was it a landline
Yes.
number?
Yes.
So he
We
blew
had
up-
3 numbers.
They had 3 numbers?
Yes.
Okay, do you happen to remember what those 3 numbers were?
No.
So he blew up the Joe's video number,
Yes.
and he blew up your cell phone number too, because he was calling it a lot.
Yes.
And matter of fact, Cindy Adams, Zach Adams' mother, got involved in your dispute that day, didn't she?
Facebook, yes.
On Facebook?
Yes.
But she also was on the phone with you and was on the phone with Zach, wasn't she?
Yes.
And she had a Georgia telephone number
Yes, ma'am.
because she lived in Georgia.
Yes.
And so are you aware that cellular telephone numbers, if you get the records, can show where somebody's location is?
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware that your cellular telephone records from the night before Holly disappeared, April the 12th, show that you stayed, or they show that your phone was hitting off of the tower in South Parsons? Are you
My
aware?
mother's, yes.
Yes. And your mother lives in South Parsons, is
Yes.
that right? And then the next morning, your telephone records show that they're hitting off the cellular telephone tower in South Parsons again.
Where I work.
Is it possible that you just spent the night there with your mother that night?
It's possible, but I mean, I remember him waking me up that morning to where I went there late the night before because we'd been into it.
But it's possible you spent the night at your mother's house.
No.
It's not possible?
I remember him vaguely. I mean, I remember.
You vaguely remember him waking you up that morning.
Yes, kissed me on the forehead, said he was hauling scrap.
Okay.
It was that day.
But the thing is, that morning, before Holly had disappeared, there was nothing different about that morning to make it stick out in your mind than Monday morning would have been or Friday morning would have been. Was there? Because until after Holly disappeared, it was going to be just like any other day, wasn't it?
Right.
Okay. And you worked a lot at Joe's Video, didn't you?
Yes, full time.
I see that you wrote, you're the one that spray painted Becca and Zach on the bridge. You all went down to that area a lot, didn't you?
Yes.
And if Zach's cell phone records show that he was over there hitting off of the cellular tower next to the river, it's because you all would go over there.
Yes.
They have a greenway over there under the bridge, don't they?
Yes.
Where people go and exercise and walk, don't they?
Yes.
People go over there to fish. It's a great fishing spot, isn't it?
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that go over there to that greenway, aren't there?
Yes.
Okay. And it's really just a beautiful place with birds and wildlife and trees, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry.
One of us is married to a court reporter and is very aware when people don't answer. You actually, on March 1st, went over all of your calls with with Joe Walker that day. So the night before, there were multiple calls between you and Zach Adams, after 10 o'clock p.m. So this is on April the 12th. There were multiple calls between you and Zach Adams after 10 p.m. up until about 1 o'clock a.m.
Yes.
And all of those calls were made. You recognize that location showed that you were hitting off of your mother's tower. Your cell phone was hitting off your mother's tower.
Okay.
Where her house is.
Yes.
And nobody else would have been using your phone. It would have been you using that phone at that time. Is that right?
Not necessarily. Sometimes I use my mother's phone. Cell phone.
But nobody else, there's not another woman that would have called Zach Adams from your phone.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So if somebody's calling Zach Adams from your cell phone, it would have been you. Isn't that right?
All right, as I wake up.
Okay, and then the TBI, they had another little follow-up question for you also on March 1st about your telephone. Then they came back and talked to you again on March the 5th. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay. They talked to you a lot.
Yes.
Right after they searched Zach's house. Isn't that right?
Yes.
You testified today that at some point, Zach, you said it's in July when you were finally breaking up, that Zach told you that he was going to tie you up.
Yes.
Nobody would find you. Said he would tie you. I tried to write it down verbatim. Said he would tie you up like he did Holly Bobo, and nobody would ever see you.
Correct.
But at some point, didn't you tell the TBI later on that he said he would tie you up and put you in his closet?
We were in his closet when it happened.
And didn't he indicate to you something about you're claiming that he indicated to you that he would tie you up and put you in the closet like he did Holly Bobo?
No, I never said that. Not that I remember, no.
So if it's in a report, it's an error that you said he'd put you in the closet.
Yes.
Because certainly you lived there at the time and Holly Bobo was not in the closet.
No. Mm-mm.
And Holly Bobo was not in the Adams house.
No.
she wasn't kept there because you lived there, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. And you certainly wouldn't have tolerated or hidden that fact from the police, would you?
No.
I mean, you weren't so in love with Zach Adams that you would cover up and hide a horrible crime like that for him, would you?
No.
And part of your conflict that you have is, when the DA was asking you if it had been very hard, part of it's because you now feel like you dated and were in love with a person who's been charged with this horrible crime.
Yes.
And so that's something that's very hard for you to take because you feel like you've exposed yourself.
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And so in a way you're wanting to do the very best you can because you feel like you need to rectify some wrong. Isn't that right?
Yes.
I mean, you're eager to please the TBI and help them convict
I'm eager to tell them the truth. No, I wouldn't say please them.
Well, you want to help them convict Zach, though, don't you?
Yes.
You had a very good friend named Brandon Williams, didn't you?
Yes.
And Brandon Williams at the time was a best friend to you, almost like a girlfriend would be.
Yes.
And so Zach Adams, actually on the day that Holly disappeared, spent some time talking to Brandon Williams also on the telephone, didn't he?
I guess.
And he would have talked to Brandon Williams because...
Your Honor, I'm going to check this. This is not even conversations. This is parties. She's talking about her client speaking with
Talking to
Brandon Williams. Right.
The hearsay on hearsay.
Well, I didn't say what he said. I just said he had spoken to him.
because of objection.
She said he had spoken to him.
Yeah, and Brandon Williams was contacting you that day too, right?
Yes.
So when he was contacting you, he was working out the relationship with you all were working on relationship problems with Zach Adams, isn't it right?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember.
But you don't remember specifically.
No.
Okay. Now, here today, you testified that at some point Zach Adams said everything was ready to go in the back of the truck, and there was a big blue Tupperware box back there,
Yes.
and he told you it was the remains of Holly Bobo?
Didn't tell me. No.
You're saying he said
They
out
was
loud,
having their own conversation. I was in a different room.
and you're saying now that he said out loud it was the remains of Holly Bobo?
One of them had said that. Yes.
Okay. Well, you could certainly tell the difference between Zach's voice and John Mitchell's voice, couldn't you?
I just don't remember. I just remember going straight to my mother's after that.
You didn't go to the police and report it.
No.
And all those times that the TBIs talked to you, you've not mentioned
I
that.
called the TBI after that.
Okay, you called the TBI after that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this is before you all broke up for the last time. Is that right?
Think so.
Okay. So you would have had an opportunity to mention the fact that they said, and did you decide they were joking about that? Or
No,
were
they
serious?
ended up telling me it was a joke to see if I would call the TBI.
So did you think it was a joke, or did you think, in fact, her remains were in the
I
box?
just blew it off. No, I didn't think that was her remains. No.
So you thought it was a joke?
Mhm.
Okay. And so you say you called the TBI, but this would have been before July of 2011. Is that right?
No. This was after.
After July of 2011?
Yes. Because me and Zach was already broke up when we was at John's house.
Okay. You know that the TBI has kept records. I mean, they have thousands of telephone calls that they've received from
Mhm.
people. Did you give your name when you called in and said that it was in a big blue Tupperware?
I think so.
You gave them your name.
I think so.
Okay, well then when Joe Walker came out to talk to you February 28th, 2014, why didn't you say, by the way, why didn't you follow up on the fact that I said he had Holly's remains in a big blue tub?
When I talked to him on the phone, they said that they were going to go down there and check it.
But you didn't mention that.
I didn't think I had to mention it to him because I've already told him.
They are there on February 28th to talk to you about what you know about the disappearance of Holly Bobo.
Yes.
And at that time, you think it is not necessary to mention to them that at some point he said,
Because it was played off as a joke.
Okay, so now you're saying it was a joke. You did go ahead and call it into TBI, even though it was a joke, but you didn't mention it when you talked to them February 28th, March 1st.
I didn't think I had to because I think it would be on records.
Okay. You certainly repeated a lot of other facts at that time, though, didn't you?
I guess. I don't know.
Just trying to shut it down.
Now, you say that you introduced Zach to Natalie Bobo. That would have been after Holly disappeared, wasn't it?
No, it was right when me and Zach had started talking. This was before we even got serious. It was when I lived on 6th Street in Parsons.
And so it's just, I mean, you've never before told the TBI that you had introduced Zach to
Yes.
Natalie. When did you tell the TBI this?
From the get-go, I guess. From the very get-go.
Well, we reviewed that first report that you had with Ricky Inman. You didn't mention it to Ricky Inman.
No, not then. I didn't.
Okay. We reviewed the second report that you had where they came to talk to you on the 28th. You didn't mention it then, did you?
I don't remember.
So you're saying here today that you were the one that introduced Zach to Natalie Bobo.
As far as I know, yes.
You were talking earlier about your car, but in fact, you had an accident and wrecked your car in May of 2011, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And after that, Zach allowed you to drive his truck, didn't he?
No, he would take me to and from work.
He did allow you to drive that truck some, didn't he?
Not that I remember.
He never let you drive it.
Maybe 1 or 2 times.
Did the TBI or DCS come take away your child after it was born?
No, ma'am.
And by that time, you'd straightened up drug-wise anyway, hadn't you?
Yes.
I mean, you were clean when your son was born.
Yes.
So there wouldn't have been a reason for them to take your son away based on
Correct.
drug use or anything. And you're employed right now?
Yes, ma'am.
So you, even though Joe's Video has gone out of business,
Yes.
you have no problem providing for your child, isn't
No,
that
ma'am.
right?
I worked 2 jobs.
And that would have been the same in 2014, right?
Yes.
Now, in the process of you breaking up with Zach Adams back in 2011, at some point you had some of your furniture and belongings over at Zach's house, didn't you?
At what time?
In 2011, when you all were living together,
Yes.
you had
Yes.
some of your furnishings and belongings over there, didn't you?
Yes.
You had a mattress over there, in fact.
Yes.
And when you all were breaking up, you at some point moved that mattress back home and then moved it back to Zach's?
Yes.
Now, Zach had access to Zach did use Facebook back in 2011, isn't that right?
Yes.
And he would post to it. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't get on and post to his Facebook page, did you?
No.
He didn't post to your Facebook page. I mean, post as him.
No.
And you didn't post as him. He didn't post as you on your Facebook page.
No.
That's different than writing a message or writing on the wall.
Comment. Yes.
Okay. And so I just want to, as a final matter, can you tell me exactly what you did on April the 13th, 2011?
I worked.
Okay. What time did you get up that morning?
I got up around 8 o'clock.
Do you remember what you wore?
No.
Okay. You think you got up around 8 o'clock. Can you be more specific than that?
No.
Okay. And what did you do next? Did you eat
I got-
breakfast?
No, I got ready for work and drove to Joe's Video, called in something to eat at Sonic, went to the bank, did
Okay.
a deposit.
Called in something to eat at Sonic. Do you remember that specifically?
Yes.
Or is it just what you did every morning?
This is what I did every morning.
Okay, so you don't have a specific memory that morning of what you called in to eat.
No.
Okay. You went to the bank. Do you remember how much the bank deposit was that day?
No.
Okay. Then what did you do next?
Went and got my food at Sonic and then went to work.
Okay. Do you have any idea how many customers you had that day?
No.
Do you have, you remember, of course, that Holly was disappeared from her home.
Yes.
Do you remember specifically what time you got off that day?
No.
Do you remember what you had for lunch that day?
No.
Do you remember what you had for dinner that day?
No.
Do you remember where you went after work?
No.
Do you remember where you spent the night that night?
Started out at my mother's.
The night of the 13th? The night of the 13th.
The
after
night
she
of the
disappeared.
13th. I was at work. I worked late, I know. But I don't remember where I went afterwards now.
Okay. Do you remember what time you went to bed?
Mm-mm.
No further questions.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. She asked you why you were scared. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Let's start with the day y'all finally broke up. Okay?
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
Okay, bro.
Object to any kind of 404B, Your Honor.
I think the door's wide open.
I did not open that door, Your Honor. That was not the intent of that question.
Let's
We can approach.
15 minutes and then we'll continue. What I'm going to do, rather than make each exhibit, I'm just going to give you the court reporter and there'll be collective exhibit, whatever the note was. Okay? And I'll go ahead and tell you what the note. One of them says, what is 404B content? I'm going to tell them that that's a rule of evidence and that we really don't need to go into it. It's strictly legal grounds. Okay? And the other one, they won't know what game I was playing. I think that's when the sound went off.
Before they did come in, on the record that the state filed a supplement to the state's notice of intention to use evidence in, I guess. Or is attached on the back of that set of motions at the end of May. And in that motion to introduce 404 evidence, we included the domestic violence. And we included actually, it's like 12 things, including the information that we sought to admit today. We are asking the court to allow us to hear that motion. At the time, we had motion hearings, and the defense, of course, I guess, did not want us to introduce that. Your Honor said that we would take that up in the course of the trial as these things came.
Do you want to take that now?
I do, because this is the right witness. This would have been the witness.
All right, let's bring the witness
Then we
in.
had to call.
Keep the jury out. Put a 1 on the first one, 2 on one of these, 3 on the other. The witness is what I want. All right, if you'll have a seat there. State can proceed.
Everybody's still on drugs. Okay. Jury's not here. There's two things that we started to talk about that we didn't talk about in the direct examination. So I'm going to ask you about now. Okay. Let's start on the day that you finally left in July.
Okay.
Zach Adams.
Mhm.
Do you remember that day?
The day that I left?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it something you'll ever forget?
Correct.
Listen to my question.
Uh-huh.
Is it something that you'll ever forget?
Oh, no. No.
Can you tell us what happened that day?
We got into it. Physically. I was trying to get away. I took off running, ran in the closet, and he held me down and was trying to tie my feet up with one of his belts. And he told me that he was going to tie me up just like he did Holly Bobo, and nobody would ever find me again. And somehow I got away. He was in his boxer shorts, and I grabbed his manly as tight as I could and pulled, and that's how I got away, and I took off running.
And at the time that he said that, his demeanor, was he joking with you?
No.
Was he being very violent with you?
Yes.
Was he being very serious with you?
Yes.
And is that something that you'll ever forget?
No.
Rewind to the day that Holly Bobo went missing. You described how Zach came to Joe's video. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
You described it as being getting toward noon.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting toward the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
What happened when Zach came to Joe's video?
The reason why I was into it, I don't really remember, but when he got out of the truck and he came up to me forcefully and grabbed my head as tight as he could and headbutted me.
That was on the very day that she went missing,
Yes.
hours afterwards.
Yes.
And when he did that, was he joking or was he doing
No.
violent?
No.
The fact he'd been violent with you, were those reasons why you were afraid of him?
Yes.
But you were still there living with him.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like to be heard on 404B.
I'm ready to rule. As far as 404B, court finds that these acts of domestic violence, I find that they did occur by clear and convincing evidence. They might conserve a material issue as far as showing her fear, but as far as the last part of that, the court must exclude the evidence of its probative value is outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice, and the court so. So we won't go further into those matters. Let's bring our jury in, please. Right, we're gonna go until the evening. Ray had a couple more questions. Someone wanted to know what 404B content is. I will tell you that that's actually a rule of evidence, but it's something that concerns itself to the court from a legal standpoint. It does not concern the jury. It's a determination that I must make concerning admissibility of certain evidence. Okay? Then number two, somebody wanted to know what game I was playing. I don't do that. I hit one of these doggone videos, and I did it twice, and it sounded like it on loudspeakers up here. But I think we've got that remedied. I will tell you periodically, I will check things on this. I've got Westlaw where I can do legal research. I've actually looked at these proceedings that are being televised to make sure that the press is in conformity with what they're allowed to show and not show. So that's some of what I've been doing up here, and I just hit the wrong button. I might have told you my tech support is my wife and daughter. I can barely get around on this thing, so I make mistakes, but we got it silenced now. Okay? All right, we're ready to proceed.
Certainly, question. You heard about statement. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
we've heard about the times something happening at one time and then a different time, maybe at a different time. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
We've heard how your life was back then,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We've heard that it was volatile with him, correct?
Yes.
We've heard that you were scared of him.
Yes.
I want to drill down right now, just the absolute truth of 3 or 4 things.
Okay.
Okay? So can you really listen to my questions?
Yes.
Okay. The day when you finally left him, what did he say to you that day?
One day that he left. I don't remember. The day that he.
Well, let me
He can ask it another way. She's already given testimony.
let me back it up. It's something you've already told us.
Okay.
Okay. The day that you finally left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not asking you what happened. But the day that you finally left, what did he say to you?
I don't remember.
Okay, well maybe I'm confused.
Yeah. He didn't want me to leave.
All right, would you stand when you make your objection?
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Yes.
And it has not been asked, he can ask.
When did Zach Adams tell you he'd tie you up like Holly Duggan up and you'd never be seen again?
July the 13th.
You remember that day?
Yes.
Is that not the day that you finally left him?
Yes. And I called my mother to come get me. And he ended up calling her back saying that everything was okay. But my mother had an instinct to go ahead and send my nephew to come get me.
Okay, stop there.
Mm-hmm.
So did my question confuse you before that?
Yes.
Did.
Yes.
So July the 13th, that isn't a day you're ever going to forget.
No.
When's your birthday?
July 14th.
It's the day before your birthday.
Yes.
It's the day that you finally got away from him, right?
Yes.
Your mother came and picked you up?
No, my nephew.
Your nephew.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say to you that day?
He told me that I better not go to the law or better not make any statements. Otherwise, he would hurt me or my family.
And you were afraid of him.
Yes.
And is that not the same day that he told you he'd tie you up like Holly Bobo?
Yes.
Up back. I don't want to confuse you.
Okay.
Did you really listen? You've been there a long time. Back. April 13th, when Holly goes missing.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you wake up that morning?
Zach's house.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes.
What woke you up that morning?
Zach.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes.
About what time did that happen?
Anywhere from 6 to 7.
Just speak up, please.
Anywhere from 6 to 7.
So would you agree with me that you can't say that it was at 6:05? You can't say it was at 6:15. You
Correct.
can't say it was at 6:50. It was between 6 and 7.
Yes.
And are you sure of that?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
He kissed me on the forehead and told me to go back to bed, but not to be late for work.
Okay, and what did he
Left.
tell you about where he was going?
To the scrapyard.
And when he told you this, how close to you is it?
What do you mean? How close?
How physically close is it to you?
Standing from me. I mean, he was standing at the edge of the bed.
At the edge of the bed.
Yes.
And you're in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all are just feet away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells you not to be late to work. That he's going scrap.
Yes.
What do you do after he tells you that?
I go back to bed.
You go back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And you sleep some more.
Yes.
Do you know when you woke up?
It's about 8 o'clock. I mean, well, no, it's about 7:45, something like that.
Okay. Would you agree with me that you don't know if it was 7:45, if it was 7:50, if it was 8, if it was 8:05?
I don't really remember.
Okay, well, so that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's important.
Okay.
Where do you go that
I go to work.
Joe's video?
Yes.
Do you see Zach later that day at Joe's video?
Yes.
I'm not asking you what he did, but what was his demeanor? Was he happy? Was he sad?
He seemed irritable.
Irritable.
Yes.
At that point, did you already suspect that he hadn't been scrapping?
Yes.
Do you know what you did after you got off work that day?
No.
Do you know if you went back to your mom's house?
I don't remember.
Okay. Mama lives in Parsons, right?
Yes.
Do you know if you went back to Zach's house?
I don't remember.
Do you know if you spent the night at your mama's house or Zach's house?
I don't remember.
But do you remember? I'm asking you, do you remember in the days after that
Mm-hmm.
being in Zach's house with Zach Adams and Shane Austin?
Yes.
And do you remember something coming on the TV about Holly Bobo?
Yes.
And when it did, what happened?
Shane started laughing.
And when Shane left, how far from Shane were you?
I was sitting in the kitchen. He was sitting in the living room, so probably from here to the corner of that, from those piles of paper right there. A little farther,
I don't see papers.
about right there.
10 to 15 feet from
Mm-hmm.
10 feet. And he laughs.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that do?
He makes the comment saying that they'll probably never find her.
We'll probably never find her.
Mm-hmm.
And did that laugh and his comment, did it have an effect on you?
Yes.
Is it something you remember?
Yes.
And then you described other things.
Mm-hmm.
The time you stayed with Zach, even after that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Were those good days for you?
No.
What truck was Zach driving then? April 13th?
White Nissan.
Is there
Truck.
any doubt in your mind about that?
No.
Now, that same truck he'd been arrested in 10 days or whatever it was before. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Had he gotten the truck back?
Yes. He went through so many vehicles. I don't know. But
Well,
yes.
listen to my question.
Dick had it.
But she's guessing at something, right? She's guessing.
Listen to my question. What truck was Zach driving on April 13th?
White Nissan truck.
Right? And why are you sure of that?
Because he came up to Joe's video. and he pulled up right where I was sitting.
And did you see it?
Yes,
How far away from you?
me to you.
3 or 4 feet.
Mhm.
Him and his wife Nisa. Don't
Yes.
worry about your kids.
I'm not.
So had he gotten that truck back after he was arrested?
After he was arrested, when?
Exactly. I confused you. The weeks before the park ranger.
Yes,
Not
yes,
just
he did.
He had gotten the truck back.
Mm-hmm.
Were you with him when he got it back?
No,
How do you know he got it back?
because it was in Dick's street. It was parked over there between the two houses, Dick's house and his house.
So you remember he got it back?
Mm-hmm.
And you remember you saw it?
Yes.
There's been questions about, or I heard questions about, well, didn't Zach go scrapping different days? Isn't that right?
Yes.
Do you remember that morning when he kissed you on the forehead and woke you up that he actually told you that he was going scrap?
Yes.
And that's, go ahead.
I even heard the trailer and the truck drive around the house. They had the trailer full of scrap.
And in fact, before you left that day, did you do something with a note or something?
Yes, I wrote a note telling him whenever he got back to put the clothes in the laundry.
Whenever he got back to put clothes in the laundry.
Or put the clothes in the dryer.
Okay. And that was just a
Mm-hmm. On a little notebook.
paper or something. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, did something happen to that note?
Checks all the media.
I'm not suggesting what happened to him. I'm just
No.
asking him.
Overruled.
Later on, did something happen to that note?
Yes, part of the bottom paper was ripped off.
Okay. And did that happen that day?
I don't remember.
Okay. Why do you remember this note, and why do you remember this?
Because he was telling me that he had been home, and I knew he hadn't. Or he told me he'd been home, but yet the clothes weren't in the dryer, and like I said, that paper was ripped, and then the scrapyard's business card was taped on there.
Okay, so you had left a note for him
Mm-hmm.
before you left
Mm-hmm.
on April 13th of 2011. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
Asked him something about putting the clothes in the jars.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And he had told you that he hadn't been home.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
But the note was different?
Mm-hmm.
How was it different?
The bottom paper was ripped.
Okay. And what about, there said something about a business card or something?
It was an old business card. It was real dirty. It was just taped on there.
So you had taped on a business card?
It looked like it was misplaced, like it wasn't supposed to be taped on there. It was, I don't know.
Okay.
But I knew I didn't leave it there.
And this made an impression on you.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons you were so suspicious.
Yes.
And so what'd you do with that note?
I kept it.
You kept
Yes.
it. April the 13th, the note, you kept it.
Mm-hmm.
And what'd you do with it after you kept it?
I later gave it to y'all.
You gave it to who?
To one of the TBI agents.
The TBI agent.
Yes.
Approach witness. What is that?
The note I wrote back.
Whose handwriting is that?
Mine.
And what are you telling them?
Will you put those clothes in the dryer for me? Thanks. Have a great day.
And when you returned later that day,
Mm-hmm.
what had happened to the note?
It was ripped on the bottom.
So when you left it, it was a full page of paper.
Yes, sir.
And what else had happened to it?
Business card was taped on, like, it was halfway taped on the side and on the counter.
And what kind of business card is it?
It's auto salvage.
And that's what he had told you he was going to do, right? Was
Yes.
like scrap?
Mm-hmm.
But you know that he did.
Right.
But yet he left that.
Yes.
And so you kept it.
Yes.
You kept it, an actual piece of evidence from April the 13th of 2011. I introduced that evidence. When you're asked about this scrapping on April 11th, whether or not you remember it, well, here it is. It's from April 13th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. This is exhibit 65. Whose writing's this?
Mine.
What does it say? What does it say?
Oh, yes. Will you put the clothes in the dryer, please? Have a great day. Thanks, Rebecca.
And it was on a piece of paper when you left on April the 13th.
Yes.
When you came back, the paper's ripped.
Yes.
He told you he hadn't been home.
Right.
And then there's this salvage car taped to it.
Mm-hmm.
But you knew he hadn't been scrubbed.
Right.
And so you kept this.
Mm-hmm.
And you turned it
Mm-hmm.
in.
So on July the 20th, 2011, that's after the day in infamy, July the 13th, 2011, of course, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And on that day, you've already left Zach Adams forever as his girlfriend. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. At that time, when you talked to Ricky Inman, you told him that Zach was still at home when you left for work that morning around 9:15 a.m., didn't you?
Yes, I did. But you've got to understand I was under the influence. I was scared to death.
Okay.
And he had already told me, I mean, with all the threats and things that he's given me, of course I wasn't going to tell the whole truth.
Okay, so you weren't going to tell the whole truth then,
Mm-mm.
right? But between that day, July the 20th, 2011, you remained friends with Zach Adams up until the time he was arrested,
I loved him.
didn't you?
Yes.
You loved him.
Mm-hmm.
You remained friends. You continued to go over to his house and hang out with him, didn't you?
Yes.
Later on, when you spoke to, I guess earlier today, minutes ago, after 3:30 p.m., when you testified in front of this jury, you told this jury that you woke up on April the 13th, 2011, sometime between 6 a.m. and 7:30 a.m., didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And then just minutes ago, you told Paul Hagerman on your redirect that you woke up sometime between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., didn't you?
Yes.
So you cut 30 minutes of it off.
It's been 6 years ago.
Okay, so it's been 6 years. Your memory is fuzzy.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'd like to look at this note we've just put in. Is this the note right here? I'm going to look at this note that we've just put in. This is the note. And you pull out this note years later. Is that right?
Yes.
I mean, you broke up with Zach July the 13th, 2011. And sometime in 2014 is the first time you produced this note, isn't it?
I don't remember when I produced it. I don't remember when I gave it to him.
Okay. Well, if it doesn't, it's not mentioned in your report with Ricky Inman, is it?
No.
Okay. And so you agreed with me earlier that from that point, after you talked to Ricky Inman in 2011, the next time you spoke with officers was after Zach had been arrested on these charges, isn't it?
Yes.
And you came forward and you say you have this note, and this note right here, a scrap note on a piece of notebook paper, is how you remember the day that Zach went scrapping.
Yes, ma'am.
But this note does not have a date on it, does it?
No.
This note, and I think you may have misread it earlier, it says, Zach, will you put these clothes in dryer for me? Thanks. Have a great day. Peace sign, heart, smiley face, love, Becca.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens to have a card for the Highway 191 Auto Salvage taped to it.
Mm-hmm.
But this note in and of itself doesn't help you remember which day it was that Zach went scrapping, does it?
It helped me remember because I knew that was another reason that he was in the lie. I mean, he told me a lie.
Right. But the thing was, if you think about it, because you're saying you suspected he was cheating on you, and when the whole thing about metal scrapping is he went metal scrapping, but you think maybe instead he was cheating on you and didn't really go metal scrapping. That's why you were mad, right?
I never said that, no.
I thought you said you were worried he was cheating on you.
During our relationship, yeah.
No, but I thought on direct you said you were worried that he was cheating on you.
At one point in our relationship, yes, but not that morning, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understood that morning you thought he was cheating on you.
No.
Okay. But in fact, he had, or it's very possible he had been metal scrapping on other days that same week, right?
Yes.
And this just helps you remember. I mean, if you're honest with yourself, it helps you remember you were mad at him about metal scrapping.
Mm-hmm.
It's only through an association in your memory that you say it's on that particular Wednesday. It could have been on that Monday, couldn't it? It's possible.
No, because I specifically remember that was another reason why he lied to me that day. Because I knew he had been at home because of the bottom piece of the paper had been ripped.
The bottom piece of the paper being ripped lets you know he was at home some point during the day.
Yes.
Okay. But that could have been on Monday. The paper being ripped doesn't help you distinguish Monday from Wednesday, does it?
No.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, you were already fussing with him on Tuesday, April the 12th, because that's why you were at your mother's house late,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
That's why you were considering not spending the night with him, because you were already in a fight, isn't it?
Yes.
And you don't specifically now remember what that fight was about, do you?
No.
Okay. So it's possible that the fight on Tuesday had to do with metal scrapping on Monday, isn't it?
If you say so.
No, I'm telling you, I'm asking you, it's possible, isn't it?
No.
So the fact that there happens to be an auto salvage card taped to this note does not help you remember what specific day this occurred on, does it? It's not this specific question.
We're about to be the same as that. Go on.
Because in fact, he already knew where to go scrapping. He didn't need a card to go scrap there.
Mm-mm.
He didn't need to pick up a card so he knew where to go that day.
Correct.
So you say that he gets to Joe's video and you have a fight at Joe's video with him over scrapping. Is that what you had an argument with him at Joe's video over scrapping?
Yes.
Okay. And he shows up at Joe's video. You say he has the trailer on the truck at Joe's video?
No, the trailer wasn't on there. No.
Okay. So he shows up only with the car.
The truck.
Sorry.
Yes.
Truck. If you're having a fight already at Joe's video about the scrapping, you haven't even gone home yet to see the note, have you?
Mm-mm.
So already at Joe's video, you suspected apparently that he had gone scrapping.
Mm-hmm.
So the note in that case didn't have anything to do with reminding you about the fight.
Right.
And it's possible he could have gone scrapping and still gone home before you, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you don't remember what time you got home that day, do you?
Correct.
And you don't even remember if you spent the night at Zach's house that day or you spent the night at your mom's house that night, do you?
Mm-mm.
No. You don't remember what you had for dinner that day, do you?
Yes.
I thought on direct.
Because actually when the conversation about we was watching the news and the conversation come up about her being missing and Zach said that they'd never find her, I remember what I was cooking that night and eating, and so that was the day that she'd come up missing.
So you're saying this very day now that that it comes up on the news and he says they'll never find her
Mm-hmm.
is the very day that she disappeared?
It was either that day or the day after.
Oh, but you don't remember. So now
No.
you don't remember. So now you don't know for sure what
I just remember specific details that stuck out to me that didn't seem right.
Because you left some of these important things out, you didn't mention. I have a leading question for my cross-examination. You have not been charged with lying to any of the TBI agents, even though you've changed your story multiple times, have you?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm going to object. There's not such charge.
There's obstruction of justice. There is obstruction of justice, and you've not been charged with.
Has not been charged.
Okay. No further questions.
Please don't discuss your testimony with anyone. You're free to go. We're at 5:25. I think it's time for us to be ready to go first thing in the morning. I hope we can pick up the pace at that time. It's been a whole lot of repetitive And I want council to concentrate and try to focus to avoid redundancy. Follow the admonitions I gave you at the outset. Leave your notebooks here. Be secured overnight. Hope that's what you do tonight. Okay, thank you.